Assalamualaikum everybody, welcome to College Guidance's So You Wanna series. This is our third session today, and we're gonna be talking about, so do you wanna be a professor? And joining us is my good friend and colleague, Professor Boone. She has taught English 1301 and English 1302 for our BHA students in the past. So before I make her or give her the spotlight, I want everybody to know, inshallah, we're going to keep everybody on mute, but we are going to require you to turn on your videos so that we should be able to see at least this much of your face. So if we could pop those on. And what we'll do is she'll speak about the profession, and then at the end, we'll open it up for Q&A, okay? So I'm going to bug you guys until you guys all get your cameras on. All right, Professor Boone, take it away.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. So as Ms. Manaz says, I am an English professor. And I kind of want to start it off just giving you a little kind of career advice, and then we'll go into talking about being a college professor. So the first thing is choosing a career is hard. It's very hard, because it's something you got to do for an extended period of time, whether it's for a few years or for your lifetime. So choosing a career is hard. So what you have to do is you have to find a career that you want to do. It has to be something you want to do. Then it has to be something you enjoy doing. It's like you have to say, okay, I want to get up and go to my job today. I enjoy doing this. And then it should be something that brings you joy doing it. Now, why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because there are going to be some days where you love your job, you love going to it, you love doing it. There are going to be some days where you like, okay, I don't like these people. I don't want to go there today. So if you have a career that you want to do, that you enjoy doing, and that brings you joy, it's more likely that you will, even if you're having a bad day, a bad moment, a bad time, a bad year, a bad 2 or 3 years, because you want to do it, because you enjoy doing it, and because it brings you joy doing it, you'll be able to do it a little bit better. And education is one of those careers. And right now in my life as an educator, and this is the first time this has ever happened, and I've had some hard years before, this has been the hardest year I've ever had. Last semester was like, okay, I don't want to do this. There were days where I don't want to do this. There were days where I don't enjoy doing this, but there were days where teaching brought me joy. So I was able, even though I didn't want to and I wasn't necessarily enjoying it, I was able to say, okay, it brings me joy to educate people so I could get up and go to work. So that's the first thing I want to tell you. You're going to have some days, if you want to be a professor, where you're going to literally be like, okay, I'm going to take this computer and I'm going to throw it at somebody because I'm tired of this. And that's okay. Education is like that. And that's one of the things that I didn't really know about teaching college, was that I actually, and I've taught in the public school system, and I've taught at college. And college professors go through the same thing that public educators, elementary and secondary educators go through. And nobody really told me that. I didn't know that, but now I know it. And I'm trying to educate other people that I'm an educator too. So how do you become a college professor? Well, the first thing is you need to get a master's degree. And this is specifically for Texas. And I'm pretty sure it's the same relatively for every state. So in the state of Texas, to teach at a community college or junior college, you need 18 hours of master's classes plus a master's degree in the subject you want to teach. So I teach English. So I have a master's degree in humanities with a concentration in English and creative writing. In theory, I should have a master's degree in English, but I don't know, the college that I chose, they didn't have masters of English. So I can teach in humanities, which I can't explain to you what humanities is. It's a whole bunch of subjects, but I have 18 hours specifically in English. So I can teach English courses. So if you want to teach math, you would have to have 18 hours in math. If you wanted to teach science, you would have to have 18 hours in science, and so forth and so on. That's to teach at the junior college or the community college level. Now, to teach at a university, a community college or junior college is a 2-year institution. To teach at a university, which is a 4-year institution, you'll need a doctoral degree. So that means you got to go to school a little bit longer, and you have to have PhD, THD, DD, whatever. You have to have a few more letters after your name. Now, there are some colleges, if they are in dire need, four-year universities, where if you have a master's degree in that subject, you can actually teach that subject. It happens very rarely, but I actually know someone who did that, but you actually need a doctoral degree. So when you're looking for college degrees to teach, I would recommend you look for colleges that are specifically for teaching. And okay, so I went to Tiffin University, that's in Ohio. I went online. And actually, I don't know how I found the college. I honestly don't know how. I think I looked for colleges that taught how to be a college professor. And so I found that college. And what happened was I asked some questions, and the dean of the college that did the English program, he actually emailed me back and gave me specifics for the state of Texas. Now, I live in Texas. I'm going to a college in Ohio. The dean from Ohio gave me information about Texas, and that's what sold me. And the other thing that sold me was they actually had a class that I had to take called How to Teach Freshman English. So I actually had a class where it says, okay, this is what you need to do to teach English at the college level. I created a syllabus, I created assignments, I created lessons and things like that. So that's kind of what you need to look at for colleges. And I can't tell you which one to go to. You just kind of have to look for them, ask some college professors, that things like that, and that'll help you. So next, once you're working on your degree, or even after you get a degree, make sure you complete a syllabus for the courses you're going to want to teach. And more than likely, the first time you're a professor, you're going to have to teach courses that don't nobody else want to teach. So let's say I have to teach, when I got my job, I have to teach freshman composition 1 and 2. The courses I really want to teach are creative writing courses. That's really what I want to teach. Well, don't nobody know me. I just got in the door. I can't walk in there and say, I want a job teaching creative writing classes. They give all those classes to full-time professors. So that's the first thing you got to know. You got to know you're going to have to teach entry-level courses. So math 101, English 101, things like that. So as you're going through your degree, as you're looking for a job, create a syllabus. And then try to create some lessons. And in English, we call it creating artifacts. And what that is you just create samples of work that you do. And one of the best ways I teach my students to do it is to actually create a website. So I was blessed to be able to teach technical writing. That's like English 2311. I just got lucky because I was in good with the dean, and she knew that I had a technical writing minor. So she was like, that was her class. This is the dean of the English department. She taught technical writing. So that's how much shows you, ain't no way. So she said, oh, I'm giving up technical writing. Do you want to teach it? So that's how I got to teach. So I was blessed to teach an advanced course. So it might happen like that. And that doesn't usually happen, but I was just blessed to do that. So that's kind of what you got to know. So with teaching technical writing, one of the things I teach my students is to create an e-portfolio. That's where you create an online presence that has all kinds of artifacts. And once we get done, I will send you the link to my website so you can kind of go look at it and see the things I have on there. And that's the thing, most college professors don't have a website. They don't have anything. And I've gotten so many comments from educators who found my website. I was like, oh my God, I like this. You're giving me some ideas, some things like that. So before you get a job, that's some of the things you can do. Have a sample syllabus, have sample lessons, have sample like presentations where you do your lectures, things like that. And one thing to really remember is when you're getting a degree, make sure you take classes that are geared towards teaching at the college level. So make sure you see if your program has a class where it says how to teach freshman math or things like that, and that will really help you. And then after you do all that, you start applying for jobs. So here's the biggest thing about applying for jobs. Some subjects are easier to get teaching jobs at the college level. Thankfully, I teach English, and I could probably walk into any college and get a class that's teaching English 1301, 1302. I can walk in any now, because that's a foundational class. So any foundational class that every college student has to take, there's like introductory math, there's some math, there's a couple of sciences, and there's English. And I can't think of any. I know those three. There might be a couple of more. So that's what you kind of got to know. So if you want to teach psychology classes, I don't know if you're going to find a job easily. You might have to search for a little bit to find a job. So applying for a job can be hard and tedious. It is very hard because you got to figure out, okay, how do I get somebody, which finding a job is hard, period. But it's like, okay, how do I get someone's attention? But the first thing is use specialized sites for higher education. And for the life of me, I can't remember the one my dad told me. It's like highereducation.edu or something like that. But you can just search online for websites to hire college educators. Now, don't use, like, you can try Indeed or some of those, but those probably won't necessarily work. But I would recommend finding a website that specializes in hiring college. So one of the routes you could go is try teaching in elementary or secondary schools. You could try that to like have some teaching experience, and you don't necessarily have to do that. But sometimes having teaching experience in elementary or secondary school will make your resume look a little bit better. Or you can just make sure that you have job experiences that show, okay, here are some skills that are good for educators. And I'll talk about the skills in just a minute. So here's the biggest thing to remember about applying for a job at the college level. You may not get hired at your first job until right before the semester starts. So you could start in, let's say, May of this year looking for a job. There's a chance you done sent your resume out to 15 colleges, every college in DFW area. They probably won't call you until August 15th. Like, the semester starts August 20th. You get a call August 15th. We have classes. Can you come teach? I'm telling you that because that's how it happened to me. I spent the whole summer looking for jobs. I'm sending resumes. I went on one interview. I don't know what happened. When I left it, I was like, okay, she don't like me. And I knew I wasn't going to get that. So I'm going and I'm getting stressed because it's like, okay, I need a job. I need a job. My dad was like, it's okay, calm down. You teach English, you're going to get a job. You're just going to have to wait till they realize that they don't have enough professors to fill all the classes they have. Got 2 calls from 2 schools the week before school started. So in all honesty, I have a syllabus, but you got to make sure that you can tailor it to the college, because sometimes they may have some things at the college that they specifically want you to teach, look at, or pay attention to. So you have to make sure you can work your syllabus. So I don't know how to use college tools that they use to do their courses. I don't really know how to set up an online class. It's a lot of things I don't know how to do. I'm a fast learner, so I wasn't scared about that. But it's like I get a call 7 days before the semester starts, and I got to be ready to go in there and teach 23 classes. I don't know how to do that. But that's usually how it happens. So you just got to be patient and just know, depending on the subject, you can apply for a job. And you'll probably get it. You're just going to be a little anxious because they're going to call you 7 days before the semester starts. And you're going to be like, oh, what am I supposed to do? And that's okay. That's where you just have to be honest with who, and trust me, in higher education, we are willing to help. That's where you say, okay, can you give me you can ask them, can you give me a sample syllabus? Can you give me some sample assignments so I can see what to expect? But just know it's going to be a little hard to apply for the job, but you just keep working and you'll find one. And so what do professors do? That's a good question. So, like I said earlier, we have the same issues as elementary and secondary educators. We deal with the same issues, just not on the same scale. So for most educators, 40% of what we do is educating or teaching. So 40% of our task is spent in the classroom, teaching students, helping students learn, things like that. 60% of it, the rest of the time, is either administrative or political. And what I mean by that is we're doing things on the administration side. We're grading papers, emailing, talking, creating syllabus, creating lessons, grading work, answering email, talking to students, professional development. And then the political part is where we have to kind of make sure we get to know some people, get to know the right people, make sure we following guidelines and things like that. So we have to deal with the demands of administration. And I've learned this across every educational field. Admin is going to tell you to do some stuff. It's like, okay, y'all really ain't paying me to do that. It's like, okay, that's not something like, and you got to remember, in college, you're teaching adults. Yes, they're 18 years old, but they're adults. So it's like some things I should not have to tell adults to do. But admin is like, you need to tell them to do this. It's like they adults. Why do I have to tell them to do that? But that's kind of what I mean by political. Those are some things you have to do. You have to deal with the demands of students. Sometimes students can be a little demanding. Sometimes students can argue with you. And this past semester, I had a student arguing with me about his grade. He kept telling me he turned something in, and it's like, you didn't turn it. He's sending me pictures of what he turned in, and it's not the correct thing. So I finally just had to say, we're done with this conversation. You didn't turn it in. You have to deal with personal demands. That's your personal life. That's how you feel. That's you saying, okay, this is my goal for this semester. This is what I want to do. This is how I want to deal with my students. And then the other demand is time management, because you have to figure out, okay, how am I going to do all this? So professors, in essence, get paid to teach a 3-hour course plus 1 hour of office time. And trust me, 1 hour office time is never enough time to get everything done. But so you have to know, okay, how do I manage my time where I'm not spending my whole day engulfed in dealing with students or administration issues? And that's just something where you have to learn how to do that. So here are some skills that you need. You need time management. You have to really learn how to manage your time. I have to teach class at 11 o'clock. I have to walk across campus and teach another class in a whole nother building at 1 o'clock. How do I teach my 11 o'clock class, finish up where they have time to get to their class and I have time to get to my class? And then like, okay, I have an office hour at this time. So you have to know how to manage your time. You need communication skills. That's speaking and writing. You have to know how to speak as well as write. You have to have listening skills. You have to listen to students. And you have to be understanding and empathetic. You have to be analytical. You have to know how to, okay, I have a student, just the fourth assignment, she done said her computer is broken on. And she keep telling me that her father is going to get her a new computer. Okay, I have to be analytical and say, at what point do I give this student some guidance and say, okay, why don't you try doing it this way? Or at what point do I say, okay, either you're lying or you need to do something different. So you have to be analytical. You have to problem solve. It's like, okay, well, this isn't working. What else can I do to make it work? You definitely have to be patient. You have to have self-management. You have to be flexible. And ultimately, you have to know how to teach. And that all depends on the subject. So let's talk salary and compensation for a few minutes. So there's 2 tracks for college professors. They're tenured and there's non-tenured. Okay, and I can tell you 2 things about tenure, because I've never actually talked to a tenured professor. Although I think my father was a tenured professor, I've just never asked him. So a tenured professor is where you have great job security. That pretty much means the college, you're at the college forever, and they really can't fire you unless it's like a really good reason, and you get a high salary. And that happened back in the day. I don't think there's as many tenured professors as there once were. And that's really all I can tell you. Now there's non-tenured. Non-tenured, there's 2 levels. There's full-time professors. That's professors who work full-time. So full-time professor, they have to teach classes. They have to have office hours. They have to do professional development, and they have to serve on committees at the college level. So they get a full-time job. That's pretty good job security, because in essence, you can be paid over a 12-month year. Even if you don't teach classes, like maybe in the summer, you can still get a salary, as well as you can get some benefits. And the salary is pretty decent. Now, the other non-tenure track is adjunct. They'll either call you adjunct, associate, or part-time. So with this, that means what it says, you're part-time. So they give you a class to teach, and you have 1 hour of office time. So that's what they pay you for, to teach a 3-hour course and to have 1 hour of office time. There's no job security. So right now I have 5 classes. Well, I had 6, but I got an email that said, okay, we need one of your classes for a full-time professor. There's nothing I can do. They can just take classes from me. It's like, oh, okay. And in theory, they should tell me, but they don't even have to tell me. I had that happen like last semester. The administration said, send the emails to your students and ask them to remind them to apply for, to to register for classes. I did that. I had 3 classes, all 3 of my classes filled up. As soon as I look on my schedule, all 3 of those classes are gone. I'm like, what happened? Nobody told me. And I wish I knew what was happening. So they gave me 2 more. Those 2 filled up. They took those 2 from me. And so I finally emailed my dean. I'm like, okay, y'all got to do something. So that's kind of what an adjunct is. You really don't know what's going to happen. And it's a very poor salary. They pay you per class. So that's what you have to remember about being a college professor. All right, any questions?
Yeah. Is that the same thing for tutoring?
Are you talking about tutoring on the college level?
Yeah.
That's a little bit different. For the most part, you don't have to have necessarily the degree to tutor. You just have to work for the college in most instances. In some instances, you can do private tutoring lessons, and I can't really tell you much about that. That's just where you say, you may put up a sticker or a poster on the college campus and say, I can tutor you in this subject, give me a call and you charge for 2 hours. But you can be a tutor for the college. You would just have to work for the college in one of their learning centers.
No, okay. But or just tutoring in general.
I would recommend that you have some experience in whatever subject you want to tutor. And you can have proof that you have experience in that subject. And that way you can say, okay, I have a degree in English, so I can tutor you. And that's where you just have to just get the word out that you're a tutor. Or you can work for tutoring centers, I know Sylvan Learning is one, or some other things like that.
No, okay.
Anyone else?
Any other questions? No questions? I will say, Professor Boone, you did hit the nail on the head. You had some great tips, great points, and I myself learned a lot about the profession. All right, Mariam, did you have a question? Go ahead.
I did. Hi, how are you? Thank you for your info session. I'm actually a parent, and I had a question. With working as a professor in a university or a college setting, you hear the phrase publish or perish. Does that apply to all different categories and departments, or would it apply for English and sciences and liberal arts, or is it more for certain fields and not for others?
Okay, so publishing in college specifically refers to tenured professors in every subject, every department, every area. So if you're a tenured professor, I know that you have to teach, you have to do service, and you have to do research. Research is the writing part. So if you want to be a tenured professor, you need to have published. But for full-time professors, as well as for non-tenured professors, full-time professors, adjunct, associate, or part-time professors, publishing is a bonus. Now, I've been published. I have some things that I've self-published. I have some things that I've published in magazines. And at the college that I attended for undergrad, I have something published in one of their freshman writers. That was the textbook that they use for the English classes. So if you're tenured, you have to publish. But if you're non-tenured, you don't have to publish, but I would recommend you publish. And that's across every subject on the college level.
I did share a link here for Professor Boone's work. I hope that's the correct one. So any other questions?
No,
That's actually an old link. I'll send a new link now.
So close.
Wait a minute, let me make sure I give you the right link. Did someone else have a question?
No, I do.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I heard there's some high schools that can that tutors people. Is that no, I'm not sure about that one.
So Bishop, tutoring and being a professor are 2 totally different pathways. If you're interested in the field of tutoring, that's something that we can probably discuss maybe on the side. Does anybody else have questions about what I call professoring, which is not the verb for professoring?
I just have a quick question. Do you have any recommendations for like colleges that are geared towards teaching, like teaching people how to be professors?
Actually, the only one I know of is the one that I went to was Tiffin University in Ohio, but I know about their English program. Unfortunately, I don't necessarily know about any colleges that are good for being a college professor. But if y'all want me to, I can try to find out. I could ask online and see if I can find out. But I mean, and I'm pretty sure you can do a Google search and find out, but you would probably have to go on like the second or third. You'd have to hit like page 2 or 3 to find more specific information. But I can find that information. I could try to find that information out and send it to Miss Manaz to have her send it to y'all.
Did you
Got it.
teach Hajar?
Say it again.
Did I what, sorry?
Hajar, was the Professor Boone your professor?
No.
No? Okay. Thought we get lucky. Alrighty, well, it is 12:01. I know you guys have class in just a few minutes, so if you need to go for your class, please go ahead. I'm gonna stay on the line for just an extra minute or two, and if that's okay with Professor Boone, to answer any other questions. But if you do have class, you're welcome to go. And I'm actually going to conclude the session on our recording. Thank you for all those who attended. Inshallah, you guys learned about the field of professoring. That is not the correct word. And thank you for joining.